I got a Vive. I hooked up a Vive in my. Is anybody in the audience rich enough to have a 6-foot room to just spare?
No, but I'm a game designer, kind of.
Game designer? Have you done stuff for in VR?
That's why I got into game design.
Pornography? Any pornography?
Duncan Trussell, I was just talking to him because he's really into VR. He sent me this odd link that I'm not experienced enough with VR yet to understand the context of this. I've only been doing like the demos. I did almost immediately, I brought up Pornhub Premium, like just within virtual space. I just wanted to know, like,
what's it like?
Would it be different if you were just, if the website on which you watch porn, like, if it was like all of a sudden, like, it's just in front of you? And the answer is, well, yeah, it's like having porn blown up in front of you. But they're obviously making VR porn. I just haven't like gotten into it yet. Although the dress form in Tilt Brush already made me a little. There's like different backgrounds.
Back up.
I have no idea what any of the last minute and a half has been about.
I got turned on by a virtual mannequin. Mannequins are already virtual. And I'm like, and I was like, there's this amazing. Google made this app called Tilt Brush. Like, if you ever get into one of these things and you only have a certain amount of time, I think the most impressive thing to do first is go to Tilt Brush, because it's like. The most impressive thing is like it's this like the tracking. That's what it is. It's like that's why in the 90s we were talking about VR incessantly, like honeycomb commercials and things were like VR's here, and it wasn't. But I think it's the tracking technology, because you're holding these things now and they're just tracking perfectly. And so everything that you're doing in there, like I was on Mars, that was assembled out of Mars rover pictures, and like the locomotion thing is always going to be an issue now, because it's like you got your rich people who can afford to have one of these systems where you have external trackers, where you're like, okay, it's like the equivalent of a swimming pool basically, because you're like, who has the real estate to like give over a bedroom to this system where you have to have total floor space. And then the odd thing is, well, it's so impressive that you can kind of like do this casual kind of like walk around, but you can't like go bounding off into the woods. You immediately you have to like, so everything is based on like kind of teleportation right now. You have to like just teleport to places, and then you can walk around 6 feet in that area. But it's just unbelievable. There's no question, once you're in it, you're like, okay, that's it, world's over. Like in terms of like storytelling, like I don't even know how we're gonna do our job anymore, because well, I do know. It's time to retire, because like it's gonna be a whole different skill set that I think AI is even going to be better at, because your job as a writer in a post VR world is going to have so much more to do with volume and like kind of almost procedurally generated, like just volumes of eavesdroppable material, because I think your job is going to be to create the illusion of infinity. So since the Lumiere brothers were like, oh, fade in on this, cut to that, here's what you see now, and here's what you see now. We were all born into this world and we don't even know. So now you put on this thing and it's like, oh, you can't. Everything has to be based on just like it has to be like that thing in New York where you're walking around in the Midsummer Night's Dream production and you can go through people's panty drawers.
Center.
It has to. Everything's gonna
Sleep No More. What's it called?
Faith No More.
It's called Faith No More.
Called Faith No More. Rockefeller Center. Everybody knows what we're talking about.
It's gonna be like that. You're gonna want to. It's gonna be like soap opera writing a little bit that way. The volume, because you're gonna like, oh, you can't.
VR people come to Lego like every other week. Like we're always talking about like the next stage of it.
Have you put on the helmet? So are you
into
like,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I've been over at Justin's house and I've gone underwater and saw the whale. I went over the mountain and I met the elephant,
so to speak.
Yeah. And I was like, and I took it off, and I was like you, and I go, porn. What's up with that?
Yeah.
And
so Duncan, maybe this is a cool.
And when can I check out of what I'm doing right now?
Duncan sent me a link to a Reddit thread. And honestly, this is also cryptic to me because I'm not familiar with any of this. I was just talking to him about VR, and I said, I was asking, is there just, my immediate question is, okay, this is fun, but are there games where my fat ass can sit in a chair? Like, I just want to drive or fly a helicopter. Like, I can only stand in a virtual museum and walk around and go, whoo, before my feet get tired, like at a museum. So I'm like, let me sit, is there games where I can sit in a chair and be like in a flying chair and go shoot people or something? And he's like, he said, there's a space game, but I can't figure out how to make it work. He said, like, he just said, porn? ? And I said, porn, I only went as far as to experiment with pulling up Pornhub on a screen, blah, 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 dress form and tilt brush. And then
I don't get the tilt brush.
What's a tilt brush?
Tilt brush is an art app, okay? So it's like it's like a MS Paint in virtual reality.
Okay.
That will blow your mind the most because you're painting, you can paint not only in 3D space, but you can also, your brush. The thing that makes me freak out is the palette interface. You have where your wrist would be. You have this cube that you can rotate by swiping. It's an immediate indication of how much more convenient it's going to be to work in VR in terms of menus and like UI and stuff. It's because you're just like, there's a cube on your wrist that it just goes flip, 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 and it's just like all these different, like, so okay, you pick your brushes and then you pick like a fire brush, you know, and you paint with fucking fire in the air, and it's like and you can just make a tunnel of fire and stick your head through there. Then you can grab the whole space and shrink it down and rotate it and all this stuff.
And you get turned on by this tilt brush.
So
you're
one
just
of the,
like, oh man, the fire.
So they have different backgrounds you can change it to. So if you wanted to like sculpt or something, there's like a little pedestal there. You can't touch the pedestal. You're holding these things, but it's like, it already makes you think like, oh shit, whatever the Disney of the future is, if people are still, you know, people are just going to, obviously that's how you're going to model like the Mickey Mouses of the future. You're going to, I haven't done Minecraft now. But I'm downloading Grand Theft Auto 5. Like Justin told me, he's like, I just stood in the strip club for like 10 minutes and just looked around. But that's the scary part, because it's like, well, guess what you do next? You start shooting everyone. Like, that's how, or you're playing the game wrong. So it's like, already you just get fucking terrified. But or at least if you're over 40, you do. If you're your age, maybe you're like, yeah. So, and maybe that will save us. Maybe people need to go do that.
Yeah,
shit.
it'll probably save us.
Yeah.
That's definitely what'll probably happen.
Of course,
it'll save us.
Just like
for
movies
sure.
saved us. Yeah.
You want to get it out of your system.
Yeah, it'll save us.
Everybody with an Eli Roth DVD on their TV, like they got it all out of their system. Like, that's why violent crime went down so much. All right, so the I just sound like grandparents, but I guess
Grandparent Auto.
Where's the goddamn? I can't find the park.
How do you make it shoot?
Where's my grandchildren?
But to answer your
question, where's my grandchildren?
One of the backgrounds in Tilt Brush, you get.
Who am I?
Get this strip club off of my lawn.
Where's my lawn?
You can change the backgrounds to anything you want, so you can be standing in infinite space and painting shit. You go white room, a black room. You can have like a marble pedestal in front of you if you want to make shit on top of that.
You can make it any kind of room you want?
You asked me a fucking question, man, and I'm in the middle of answering it for 10 minutes. And it's like, the question is, Dan, tell us about your fucking sexually perverse brain, like, and why you're a monster. And I'm trying to get there. I'm trying. One of the backgrounds that you can change it to is like a dress form. You know, like, what do you call it?
A maiden form.
It's a torso. It's for pinning fabric to.
I think it's called a maiden form, right?
It's a maiden form. I think that a dress form. So it's
a dress form.
So you're switching buttons like, oh, there's Saturn, and I'm in the desert and I'm painting and stuff, and then it's like, oh, the dress form, and I was just like, ah. And it's a life-sized torso in front of you, and
no head. No head.
Yeah.
There was no head.
Yes.
Oh my God. No head.
No limbs, no arms.
A headless torso. so hot.
I feel like you guys are interpreting this the wrong way, but maybe not. I don't know. I mean, take me to jail. But what I'm trying to do is say, like already, it's like.
Cody, run for the hills.
The technology is so primitive, but it's just like you're in virtual reality, but there's a thing that is life-size in front of you that even thinly represents.
That has no brain.
So think about like Jessica Rabbit and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You think about like the ideal of beauty, like sometimes how it sometimes actually not only it filters reality, but sometimes it seems like it the whole point is that it's not real. And it's like there's going to be this whole. I mean, you look at today, like you have celebiosexuals and like we're in this modern world, and like people are finding out all these different ways to be turned on, and like now we're going to have the first generation born into a world where
celebios. What?
Yeah, people who just identify as like, look, here's my sexuality. Well, I don't know. You'd have to talk to one of them. I don't want to mischaracterize it and say fame gives me a boner. That sounds whatever, but it's like. I'm a celebiosexual. I'm saying, God, why am I fucking explaining myself to you? The fucking yes, it's a dress form. It couldn't be less. It's like the vague hint of femininity in the vague hint of like a thing in front of you, and already immediately, of course, I was just like, just like kind of like you put your hands out there because that's your instinct. I always say because I'm trying to like decriminalize myself, but that's what I did. Like it was like this, and it was like, oh man, here we go. Like this world. I'm glad I'm on the way out. I don't know if I'd be equipped to like handle the things that are ahead for kids. Like how they're gonna have to sort themselves out around this shit because you're gonna be able to do anything you want like all the time. And I think also the planet's gonna be dying. So. So it's going to behoove us to the more time we spend in this thing, the less time we're going to be driving our fog machines that are like destroying the earth. So it's going to and when we put people in prison, which we love to do, we're going to be like, okay, you get to be in a virtual prison, so your cell can be smaller in real life. We're going to take advantage of it.
Do you think that we're ready for fog machine car technology?
As long as there's signs in front of every freeway that says.
When you say you put your hands out at this dress form, you're not.
You're holding like these Wii paddles right now. They haven't done like you're not Minority Reporting yet with like fingerless gloves yet, but I'm sure that's coming. But it's actually more handy right now that they have like these very elaborate because that would just be 2 buttons, on off. This is like they still have these paddles. You're shaking your head. Well, okay, fine. All right, that's a different episode. No, it's fine. No.
Budget related, I mean, they have options, but
right.
Not accessible.
As soon as they get rid of the wires, like right now, it's like ridiculous. It's like you have like a big braid of like thick cables coming out of the top of your head that like you have to like traipse around. It's like, thank God I used to do stand up, so I'm like not falling on my ass. Like I'm just like, so what else is going on, ladies? My applause. It's not there yet, but anyone that puts this thing on is going to be like, I get it. It's here. It's not going anywhere, and it's the first time this is the Sugar Hill Gang, and like there were people back then who were like, no, what is all this dumb rapping thing? And it's like, no, it's happening.
It's the Sugar Hill Gang, everybody.